So this time, we're learning about Chapter 5, Fractions and Standard Form. Let's start. Keywords: fraction, vulgar fraction, numerator, denominator, equivalent fraction, simplest form, lowest terms, mixed number, common denominator, reciprocal, percentage, percentage increase, percentage decrease, reverse percentage, standard form, and estimate. In this chapter, you will learn how to find equivalent fractions, simplify fractions, add, subtract, multiply, and divide fractions and mixed numbers. Find fractions of numbers. Find one number as a percentage of another. Calculate percentage increases and decreases. Increase and decrease by a given percentage. Handle reverse percentages during increases and decreases. Work with standard form. Make estimations without a calculator. So, the Rhind mathematical papyrus is one of the earliest examples of a mathematical document. It is thought to have been written sometime between 1600 and 1700 BC by an Egyptian scribe called Amis. Thought it may be a copy of an older document. The first section of it is devoted to work with fractions. Fractions are not only useful for improving your arithmetic skills. You use them on an almost daily basis, often without realizing it. How far can you travel on half a tank of petrol? If your share of a pizza is 2/3, will you still be hungry? If 3/5 of your journey is complete, how far do you still have to travel? A hairdresser needs to mix her dust by the correct amount, and a nurse needs the correct dilution of drug for a patient. You should already be familiar with the following fractions work. Equivalent fractions. Find equivalent fractions by multiplying or dividing the numerator and denominator by the same number. So, a half times 4/4 equals 4/8. A half and 4/8 are equivalent. 40/50 divided by 10/10 equals 4/5. 40/50 and 4/5 are equivalent. To simplify a fraction, you divide the numerator and denominator by the same number. Mixed numbers. Convert between mixed numbers and improper fractions. So 3 and 4/7 equals 3 times 7 plus 4 over 7, which is 25 divided by 7. Calculating with fractions. To add or subtract fractions, make sure they have the same denominators. So 7/8. So a third equals 21 plus 8 over 24. 29 over 24 equals 1 and 5/24. To multiply fractions, multiply numerators by numerators and denominators by denominators. Write the answer in the simplest form. Multiply to find a fraction of an amount. The word of means multiply. 3/8 of 12 equals 3/8 times 12, 1, which is 36/8 or 4 1/2. To divide by a fraction, you multiply by its reciprocal. So 12 divided by a third equals 12 times 3, 1, equals 36. Or 2/5 divided by a half equals 2/5 times 2 1s, which is 4/5. Percentages. The symbol percentage means percent or per 100. Percentages can be written as fractions and decimals, like 45% equals 45 100ths, or 9 pennies, and 45% equals 45 divided by 100, which is equal to 0.45. Calculating percentages. To find a percentage of an amount, use fractions and cancel, or use decimals, or use a calculator, which work in all three ways. (5.1) Equivalent fractions. A fraction is part of a whole number. Common fractions, also called vulgar fractions, are written in the form a over b. The number on the top, a, can be any number and is called the numerator. The number on the bottom, b, can be any number except 0 and is called the denominator. The numerator and the denominator are separated by a horizontal line. If you multiply or divide both the numerator and the denominator by the same number, the new fraction still represents the same amount of the whole as the original fraction. The new fraction is known as an equivalent fraction. For example, 2/3 equals 8/12, and 25/35 equals 5/7. Note this in the second example that the original fraction, 25/35, has been divided to smaller terms, and that 5 and 7 have no common factor other than 1. The fraction cannot be divided any further. The fraction is now expressed in its simplest form, sometimes called the lowest terms. So, simplifying a fraction means expressing it using the lowest possible terms. Work example 1. Express each of the following in the simplest form possible. 3/15, 16/24, 21/28, and 5/8. So for all of this, you need to find a number that both the numerator and the denominator are divisible by, and it has to be as big as possible. Like 3 in the first example, 8 in the second example, and 7 in the third example. In the fourth example, 5/8 is already in its simplest form because they have no common factors other than 1. Worst example 2. Which two of 5/6, 20/25, and 15/18 are equivalent fractions? Simplify each of the other fractions. 5/6 is already in its simplest form. 20/25 equals 4/5, and 15/18 equals 5/6. So 5/6 and 15/18 are equivalent. Exercise 5.1. By multiplying or dividing both the numerator and denominator by the same number, find 3 equivalent fractions for each of the following: 5/9, 3/7, 12/18, 18/36, and 110/128. Question 2. Express each of the following fractions in its simplest form: 7/21, 3/9, 9/12, 15/25, 2,500, 24/36, and 108/360. So, that's the end of this lesson. Thank you and goodbye!